All right, guys, we are here today. I've got Nick Smith with me, the Director of Distilling Operations and Head Distiller of Bardstown Bourbon Company. Thanks for giving me some time, buddy.
Jesse, thanks for having me on. This is going to be a fun podcast, so looking forward to it.
You have been busy, man. Like, you got to Charlotte, you were at Ben 110 last night, sold out crowd at Ben 110, drinking through all of the Bardstown goodness.
Oh yeah.
How do you like Charlotte? I mean, it's a fun town.
It's been beautiful. We sent them on a wild ride last night, going through 6 different finishes. 5 different finishes and Discovery 13 as well. So they got to go through a cognac, they got to go through a beer finish, they got to go through a wine finish, and they also got a rum finish last night. So the palate was going crazy for them last night, but it was a great sold out event. Charity event tonight, which is going to be great to give back to charity. And then looking forward tomorrow, I'm at a tailgate, complete different side of things for the Wake Forest, North Carolina game tomorrow. So
You get the full spectrum.
full spectrum to enjoy North Carolina this weekend. So
All we need to do now is get you some Bojangles and you can head back to Kentucky having had the full experience.
yes, I just can't tell KFC that going back to Kentucky.
We'll make it a North Carolina secret. The charity event tonight, tell me a little bit about that. Our buddy Ken, he does this every year. It has become one of the largest charity events in the whiskey season. Tell me a little bit about tonight.
Yeah, so tonight is for Bourbon Hearts. It's given back to charity. He brings a lot of the different people in the industry in. I know Mary Ann will be there. There'll be a lot of distillers, a lot of bourbon coming around. He's got some individual interviews set up for us. That way people can get to know about us a little bit more.
Nice.
And then the main thing that we're going to be doing, besides sampling bourbon, is going to be auctioning off different things to be able to give back to the charities. So a lot of good things that will be auctioned off between different barrel picks from different distilleries. I think something with me and Mary Ann will be doing a blending experience together.
Oh, that's
lunch with us and a full tour of Bardstown Bourbon behind the scenes after. So it's pretty much a full day with Mary Ann and myself, and they'll get to take that blend home with them and everything like that. And we're trying to decide if we'll do 2 separate blends of Forbidden and Bardstown, or if we might even combine one and let them kind of play with that and then take that home themselves. So
straight up rock and roll right there. The tour of Bardstown would also be an amazing thing. That facility alone, like the tour in general is amazing, but when you get to like pull the curtain back a little bit and really go behind the scenes, that place is like Willy Wonka of whiskey.
yes, so at Bardstown we're all about innovation, collaboration, and transparency. So whenever you first come to the facility, you see the transparency and innovation right there. One, it's all glass. You can look anywhere. We're no missed secrets, legends, anything like that we're trying to hide. You can look right through the window and see everything that's going on, take pictures of everything, video anything as you go through. You see the innovation side of things on how clean, sleek, the different collabs we come out with, the different finishes, the blending, and then transparency side, you're holding it right there, right on the side of the bottle. We give you exactly what is in that bottle. That way you're not having to guess or wonder, where did this come from? Certain NDAs, we can't say where this juice came from, but if you are in the bourbon or whiskey world, you can either look at that and know, or pull this little thing out that you keep in your pocket, and you can find it on Google, I'm sure. So,
But that transparency, I think, has always been like you shepherded that in to a huge degree.
yes.
Like the boom as we see it right now in 2025, the landscape is so different than it was when you guys started coming around, and there was still a little bit of hold on to that. It is what we say it is.
Yes.
And you guys have been a pillar of making sure that what people buy, they know what they're getting. And I think that's where that transparency, like from day one, you guys have been transparent about everything that you're doing.
At the very beginning, and when you come to the facility, you see it right there as well. You can walk through and see everything it is that we're doing, and we like to be transparent in that and teach and have you come through, spend the day with us. There's so many things that you can do there besides just coming in and drinking a glass of bourbon.
The restaurant's insane.
Top class. Executive Chef Stu does a wonderful job there. changes the menu often, which we as employees that are there quite a bit, eat there quite a bit, love that we get some new items. And then the culinary side, the bar side of the mixologists and cocktails that they're able to do working together. You can take sensory courses, cocktail courses. I give a once a month behind the scenes tour, get made fun of a little bit. They call it the Gilligan's Island tour because it is 3 to 4 hours long. So it is, you come out of there being able that you should be able to make your own bourbon and whiskey by the time that you get done with me after that. But it is,
Love that.
like you said, there's so many things that you can do. We want to feel like that you're home, you're part of the family, and you could spend the day and don't feel rushed, like kind of, we say like a herd of cattle, that you're in the door, out the door just to get numbers up. We want you to stay, play, and enjoy yourself.
Well, you guys do a good job too, and I didn't know that you did a 3 to 4 hour thing. Next time I'm in town, we'll be spending a lot more time together. All of the people that you guys have leading those tours, the patience,
Yes.
like, and I will say most of the distilleries in Kentucky do a great job. I think everybody understands now that um, that user experience, for lack of a better way of saying it, is very important to the industry.
Very important. The bourbon trail is
Oh man,
key for us to get people to not to learn about the brand and come in and actually see our craft and art of what we're doing there to be able to make this get into this bottle right here.
well, but your guys go kind of above and beyond when it comes to patience with the general consumer, that there is no dumb questions.
Oh, yeah.
You can have fun, I think my favorite tours are the ones where the patience is tested, and that couple from New Jersey are twisted by like halfway through the experience, and they're asking those super loud questions, and you guys always like are so nice and answer them and then make them feel like, this is an experience.
Well, yeah,
Have a good time.
you'll have a range of guests that come in from very beginners that have never even tasted bourbon before, and we just happen to drive by and this place looks amazing and heard about it, and I've never had bourbon. How do you drink this? What do you suggest to your geeks, bourbon nerds that are going to come in and they want to throw a question your way that they want to try to stump you in any possible way. But I love both ends of the spectrum. You have to be patient because you want to teach the person that's never had bourbon before. You want them to learn about it. You want them to become a fan of your brand. So you have to have that patience. And then on the other end of the spectrum with your bourbon nerds that are going to try to stump you,
You got to be ready.
you got to be ready. That's a challenge, right? Throw me a curveball, and if I can't answer that, or if you're just trying to stump me, I'm going to go find out to try to better myself anyway. But you have to be patient all the way through. So dealing with the public could be rough sometimes because it is dealing with the public and a lot of people.
It keeps you on your toes.
That's the fun part about it, is the networking and meeting people and being able to talk and enjoy over a good glass of bourbon. So.
Well, good glasses of bourbon you guys have a many of. Walk me through a little bit about how you came to Bardstown Bourbon Company and your current role as Director of Distilling Operations. I mean, good Lord, man.
So there for a little while, every year my title, I think, changed at Bardstown because we were growing astronomically. But yeah, a little about myself. Born and raised in Bardstown, Kentucky. So I don't know if the accent's going to come through or not, but North Carolina, I kind of blend in around this area. I was in California 2 weeks ago and they look at me like an alien when I start to talk. But yes, born and raised Bardstown, Kentucky. So bourbon is everywhere. That is the bourbon capital of the world. So we're able to, within a 100-mile radius, 95% of the world's bourbon is coming out of that area. So I grew up kind of seeing that, but I was not into it. One, couldn't drink as a child, but still wasn't something that I was like, this is what I want to go get into. My family actually ran a beer distributorship in Bardstown, so the AB distributor, Anheuser-Busch distributorship. So I was used to beer being around, so not making it, but just shipping it out. They covered a big area, so I always was used to Bud Light, Budweiser being in the baby bottle kind of thing growing up with AB products.
But that's interesting because that gave you have been, the business wasn't foreign to you.
No, wasn't foreign. So alcohol, I was used to being around. Actually, close ties to somewhat Heaven Hill as well, because my grandfather lived directly across that, and their family farm was right there connected with Heaven Hill. So I was kind of
wow.
grew up sitting there looking at all those warehouses and everything like that. But their original child home place and everything was right there on Heaven Hill Farm, so where he grew up at. So, like I said, bourbon was always around, but drank a lot more beer when I was younger. So then went to the University of Kentucky, agriculture economics degree. And then, like all college students love to do, I could not find a job, and it brought me back home to mom and dad's basement.
There you go. There you go.
With that, you know, bourbon being everywhere, I was just looking for a job to kind of get me out of the basement. You know, applied to a lot of different places, and then something my father always taught me: it's not always what you know, but sometimes who you know.
Especially in whiskey.
So yes, so I applied to about 6 different jobs at Jim Beam Brands, and fortunately, being a small town of Bardstown, I went to school with HR's daughter from kindergarten through college. So after I applied to 6 jobs,
Wow.
I called her daughter and I said, will you please call or text your mom and ask her to give me an interview? And that is the next day she called, and that is how I got my start into the bourbon industry. So I started on the ground floor actually at Jim Beam in the Union. I was a distillery relief operator. So
Okay.
what that entails is I had to train in all the different areas and departments, and I covered the main operators off days. So 24/7, you know, big production as Jim Beam is, that some I worked swing shift, first, second, third shift, all in the same week.
Wow.
And I could be distillery, you know, first shift Monday, could be dry house second shift Tuesday, cold boiler, gas boiler, you know, on Wednesday. I could be water treatment and doing lake water, and then granary, warehouse, and I would move around to these different departments. So it took a while to train
Right.
and learn all of that. And then once trained, you're looking about 8 months to a year in training, and then I would bounce around. And so with doing that, I learned kind of the full process, start to finish, on what it takes to make this product. And so you could say I got a little dangerous with it, that I knew the full process flow and could do every job. And then just having that piece of paper from University of Kentucky, after 3.5 years, I moved up to company side at Beam, so out of the union to the company. And I moved from their Claremont facility to the Booker Noe facility. So the true workhorse is pumping out liquid operations only over at their Booker Noe facility. Claremont's where you're gonna go do a tour at.
Wow.
And I ran the second shift there. So I was second shift supervisor, about 5 years with Jim Beam. And I took a leap of faith, and I was one of the original hires for Bardstown Bourbon Company. So left a company that had been around 230 years,
Right.
and went to a brand new startup, not knowing what it would be. And I was one of the original 15 that were hired into Bardstown. So I've been there since day one.
Really?
So I've seen everything that has happened. I guess you could say I'm the OG of Bardstown, even though I'm only 37 years old. I've been there, besides the maintenance manager and Steve Nally, I've been there longer than anybody, being one of the original employees. So with that, I've got to see the growth of the place, which has been, and that is kind of what I do as an operations guy, is I have taken it from the startup to leading through all the different expansions that we've been through.
See, now I love that. I geek out on operations. Believe it or not, you hear comedy, you don't normally think operational, but there is a method behind operations that leads to a consistency that is necessary for whiskey.
Yes.
And if you go and just start doing, like you're going to end up with, who knows what you're going to end up with, but you're not going to be a consistent product that can go out to a consumer that wants
Not
the
at
same
all.
thing in Origin Series every time they go back for it.
Yes. So day one on the operation side, a lot of us came from Jim Beam Brands that first started,
Right.
but every one of us that was there had worked at a distillery. And a lot of the distilleries that we were coming from were historic ones that had been around for generations.
Right.
And they're also not the cleanest.
Yeah.
You know, they've
yeah.
been there a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And so all of us coming from these other places, one, makes us very dangerous that you put all these minds together, that you have someone from Jim Beam, Heaven Hill, Buffalo Trace, Willits, all the different ones, that we've got someone from each one, and you put all those brains together.
I'm picturing like a captain.
Yes, how did this work for you all? How did you do this? What went good? What went bad? So we can put in what we all agree on, what we think is best for how this could work for Bardstown being new. So at the very get-go, we knew we're not just going in this and let's throw some corn in here, some wheat in here, and just see what happens. Everything was form control documentation to be able to make the mash bills out, the master sanitation schedule, you know, and once this, it took off more HACCP certifications, the ISO certifications and things like that, to where we are food safety certified, to where we're doing the right things, because I am making bourbon for other people as well, not just Bardstown. So I'm sure they would, you know, take my word for it. Don't worry, it's damn good.
Yeah.
But we actually have the technology and the data to be able to back up that, to give them full traceability of their product, any of the chemistry, any of the GC analysis, anything that they want. They can view the production, everything like that, that they're able to actually feel like they're there making it if they're not there, if they want to be. So and then we are a lot of people's homes. When I do their production, they're able to come in and be able to be right there through the grain unload, the mashing, the fermentation, distillation, barreling, putting the barrels away. They will come in and help or watch or view or video or do any of that for their brand, to be part of that, because they don't have the distillery themselves.
Well, and you guys have collected some talent on that side as well. Like, talked to Rick and Ricky from 15 Star.
I love Rick and Ricky.
Marianne, of course. But I never knew that it was such a brain trust in the beginning. And that is super interesting to see just how well executed the whiskey is. It makes it make a lot of sense, because you were already coming from a state-of-the-art facility.
Yes.
And you guys, for I'd say even for today, but back when you started, it was like blowing people's minds, because you can fine tune what you're making to the nth degree. And then to your point, I didn't know, I mean, it makes sense that when you're making whiskey for other people, that data would be super important. I never knew that. Like, that's a super, that's a selling point right there, that we're not only going to make it for you, but we're going to be able to bring you with us.
Yes, bring you with us on the journey if you're not able to come in for it. And, you know, my customers range from all ends of the spectrum, to ones that have a lot of money and just want their own brand and give me a recipe percentage and make this, or what's popular right now, what do you think I should make, and I just give my advice on them. To ones that are craft distillers, that what's in their best interest, you know, that if you want to lay down 300 barrels, I have one customer, it takes him 2 years to make 300 barrels. So does he want to expand his entire infrastructure and have to, you know, more employees, bigger location, and still not be able to put all those barrels away at one time to start aging right away? Or he can come and run one day with us, lay down 300 barrels that one day, and it doesn't have to be 300. That's just a number I'm going for. It could be 30 barrels if it needs to be. So that he can lay those down and use all of his own ingredients if he wants to, and make it as similar as possible, and those barrels start aging right away, to where he has access to, because unfortunately when we make this product, it's not ready right away. We have to wait for that to age out and to become what it becomes through maturation. But he brings up his own corn from Arkansas, his own. We've done white rice and wheat for him. He trucks that up from Arkansas. We supply the malted barley, because it's the same supplier that he uses down there. We source his yeast, same yeast that he uses. We go through all of his same cooking procedures, how he would do it down in Arkansas. And then same distillation. He sources the barrels in, same ones he uses. So we're running his exact same process as close as possible, using his same raw materials that he uses, and being able to give him exactly what he's somewhat making down at his distillery, a mass quantity in one day, that he can start aging right away and not have to expand his entire facility, and still not be able to get to the juice number or the quantity that he wants to right away. So
Dude, that is beautiful. And two things came out of that for me. One, you're teaching them, you're not teaching them, but you're allowing them to play chess with you.
yes,
Like, the biggest thing that people need when they're at that stage, or if they're even past that stage, and you just touched on it, how much do you want to grow? Like it's a hard thing for a new brand to understand that they don't need to be everywhere
Yes.
immediately.
I mean, look at our brand.
Yeah.
We're not everywhere immediately.
No.
We have been growing for quite a few years now. We just turned 9 years old in September.
That's nuts.
It is nuts, and especially going through my head what all I've seen us accomplish on the operation side in those first 8 years. You know, when we were expanding. So when I first got to Bardstown, we had one cooker, 8 fermenters, and one 36-inch column still. I could stand in one spot and see the entire operation. And I was coming from Jim Beam, you know, and there I was thinking, I was thinking, this is going to be a piece of cake. You know, I can sit here and see everything. 8 fermenters. We're just doing a couple cooks a day. I said, this is going to be easy. But what I did not understand was one, there was only 15 of us. So when I was at Beam, I was just a number. Everything was already set in place.
Ooh, okay.
When I came to Bardstown, I was an important number because there was only 15 of us and there was nothing set in place. We had to be the ones to build that and set that in place to take off operations. So we were literally hired, majority of us, at the end of August of 2016. We were running full speed production within 2 weeks of hire date, which speaks numbers to the team, and then it has taken off from there. So at the very get-go, coming in, we knew we were going to do custom collaborative distillation.
Right.
It was going to be about 20% Bardstown, 80% custom.
Right.
Which was a brilliant business plan by Peter Lofton, because if you look at this business, usually the craft distillers or things like that, you have to wait for this to age and you need revenue coming in the door right away. So you'll see them releasing moonshines, flavored moonshines, gins, vodkas, things that do not have to age out to be able to get some revenue in as they're waiting on their bourbon to age. So with our business plan going right away as producing and getting paid by the barrel, we were cash flow positive day number one, to where we did not have to rush to release any product as well.
It's beautiful.
And then we started to grow. So when we first started, we were about a 25,000 barrel a year operation, looking at about 1.5 million proof gallons. Well, when we first turned on the equipment, we had requests for double that amount. So we started to work on, well, let's expand. You know, if we can make 25 and they want 50, we'll double the size. So 8 months into production, we doubled the operation, which was adding 8 more fermenters, and we went to 24/7 operation instead of just 4 days a week, how we were set up.
8 months in?
8 months in. So that first summer coming back around, we started in September. When we came back around 2017 to that very first summer shutdown, that's when most distilleries will have a shutdown period in the middle of summer.
Right.
Because a lot of us are running 24/7.
Right.
So being able to either put new equipment in, you know, tie into pipes, different pumps, change your infrastructure, and then a deep clean of the system that has been running nonstop as well.
That's right.
We literally tear it apart and put it all back together in about a 2-week window to a 4-week window. So in that time, we did a full expansion, and then it didn't stop from there. Once that was done, we had requests for over 100,000 barrels. So then we went through a bigger expansion 1 year later in the summer of 2018, which was adding 16 more fermenters, a second mash cooker, and the second 36-inch column still. So that took us to about 6 million gallons a year. And
but look at your timeline right there. That timeline is the heart of the whiskey boom.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Everybody and their brother needed you
was taking off.
Yeah.
A different business strategy that you did not see in bourbon and whiskey at that time.
That's right.
The contract distillation has been around.
Oh yeah.
It was just always a secret. Besides MGP, everybody knew that if you wanted contract distillation, MGP was the main player, and they're right there in Indiana, and they make good juice.
Yeah,
but
100%.
What is kind of different, I always refer to it's kind of like going to a restaurant. Here's your menu. Here's 10 mash bills.
Right.
Which one do you want?
That's right.
They do some custom stuff as well, but it's mainly that, you know, you're going to a restaurant, and you're ordering something off the menu. Cheesy as can be with this statement right here.
No, I know what you mean.
We're kind of the Subway or Qdoba or Chipotle of going down through that you can customize any type that you want, which no one was doing that right then. But there was other contract distillation going on. It was just a secret behind closed doors that, you know, the Heaven Hills and Beans and them have laid down whiskey for other big guys before. Of course. Just nobody ever spoke of it, and you never knew of it. MGP was the one that spoke of it, and then Peter Lofton came with the idea of doing this custom because he was looking for something like that and he
Right.
could not find it. So that's when him being an entrepreneur and having quite a bit of money, which helps get
Helps
things like
quite a bit in whiskey, yeah.
which helps get things like that going. That he was able to start Bardstown with this philosophy that we're going to do custom collaborative distilling for people. So it took off like a rocket because the bourbon boom hit right there at
Oh,
the same time.
pulse
And
of
being
bourbon
able
boom.
to come in and customize what you want to make and how you want to do it, whatever grain types, yeast types, temperatures, proofs, barrels, anything that you want to change on it and do is what makes it awesome for me every day. Stressful as can be at
I
sometimes,
can imagine.
but think of all the different things I get to see and work with that a lot of other distillers do not. I mean, I make over 60 recipes a year, and I'm young. I've probably made more bourbon and whiskey recipes than most any distiller that has been around for 50 years because of just the job and the facility that I'm at to be able to do that. But I learn something new every day because I'm not just making Bardstown and
Yeah.
trying to learn for myself.
Yeah.
Where I work with these others, they have master distillers or consulting master distillers or very technical people that have been in the industry for years, and I get to go back and forth with them on what they want, why they do it this way, and we get to sit down and kind of nerd out together, I guess you could say, on making their recipe.
Well, from a learning standpoint, like everybody you work with, you collect something from them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So your Rolodex, like the same way you build your palate, your Rolodex for whiskey making has just become like, again, I'm gonna go back to Captain Planet. Like you've just been able to collect something from everybody and turn yourself into like a Swiss Army knife of whiskey making.
I've been starting to get a little dangerous, yes. So but it's so much fun. Some of the grains, you mentioned Rick and Ricky a while ago.
Yeah.
So
Came with the popcorn.
the popcorn. I never would have got to do anything like that or be able to meet them, who are wonderful, great people. Never would have got to make popcorn bourbon and whiskey if it wasn't for, them being excellent popcorn farmers and wanting to diversify into something outside of just popcorn and their passion for bourbon and whiskey. And then being at Bardstown Bourbon where we're able to make something out of popcorn versus
That's right.
most other distilleries would not even entertain doing
That's right.
anything
That's
like
right.
that. And cool little neat story about the popcorn that a lot of people probably don't know. They are starting to blend. It is getting of age now that they're starting to use in their stuff. But
First West.
but the very first trial we did of that, so it was a black popcorn.
Right.
The mash was purple.
Really?
Sweetest thing ever that you will see. So we've done black popcorn, blue popcorn, red popcorn, and white popcorn with them. And the very first trial, and our trials, I don't do in a lab. It's not that I'm going to make this little bitty cup of juice and try this in the lab. I do one full cook and fermenter for this trial. So we got his grain, sent it out for starch analysis just to see what type of starch is in this compared to, yellow dent number 2 corn that we would use for most bourbons.
Right.
And it was right there close to it. So I was like, it's got good starch content. You're going to get a good alcohol yield. It's not like it's going to be a total loss on we're using a ton of corn and not going to produce as much alcohol. Great starch content. And when we mix that black popcorn with that lightish brown wheat or rye, it was amazing that when it pumped out, it was purple mash. And so you're sitting there looking at all these fermenters across that you've got brown, 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 boom, purple right there in the middle of this trial that was really neat. And so
Willy Wonka.
the way that they have been able to, their passion for it and how much they have got into the blending and the different flavors, and they've made changes on their production since day one. So we, went into it that this is what we were going to start with, but from where they have started to blend flavors, we have changed some of the recipe percentages and laid down some different recipes that they're able to blend with to have more consistency or looking for different flavors on different products they have. So they've been a great customer and awesome to work with every day. But like I said, that popcorn, very neat, awesome.
Well, Ricky's age too, I think that's like a great strength for him because he's so young to already be this good at it.
Yes.
But I got to ask, when you saw the vat of purple, what did you do with it? Like you blend it in?
No, I mean, we ran that through distillation. So it sat there fermented for 3 days. So it was, that was the trial fermenter. And from there, after the trial went, to their full-scale production for how much they wanted to produce, and we do a lot of different things with them. So the popcorns, they'd lay down some regular bourbons, some rye whiskey, some different things, because they're doing a lot of really good stuff out there, some finishes, some blends, and so they're it's really great to see the brands that get to work with their success as well, along with Bardstown's success.
Oh, of course.
So
Well, but your ability to let them do whatever they need to do, I think, is the most appealing part, right? Like, I was talking to somebody that works at the company, and they were just telling me about how even in training, like, you guys can punch it in to whatever degree you want it to be punched into. And like when people are learning, like, maybe it'll be good, let's try it. Like that freedom, I guess, is what I'm looking for, to let whatever your whiskey imagination can come up with get turned into an executed product. I can't see that not being appealing to a consumer that's wanting to build a whiskey with you.
yes, it's very appealing that we have also the technical support to be able
That's
to,
right.
to
That's right.
teach and learn with them, because a lot of times that could be somebody new coming into the industry that
Right.
you know, they want to learn this stuff as well. And we can I like to start with a distillate tasting. What do you like? What do you want to go with? Or it could be a finish tasting. Just what is your palate looking for what you want to start with? Because that's going to lead us to what grains we need to start with in the very beginning. So, and then it always starts with the grains coming in. If you bring in crap raw materials, you're going to make a crap bourbon. So you have to source the correct raw materials and make sure that those are tested before they come into your system. So I'm not going to bring in bad grain, because that is going to make a bad bourbon. So everything gets quality tested through before it gets unloaded into our system. Or you're going to start bad at the very beginning, and you can't always bring that back. Maturation does magic and wonders sometimes, but not always. There are some different chemicals that could be picked up in the grain that will not change through maturation. So that's where testing and the quality control and the technology side that we have to be able to make sure that we're going to make a good batch each time, versus let's just do the 8-ball and try to get lucky. We don't want to go that approach whatsoever.
Too much money at
Yes.
stake for that. Okay, so I've come in, I've told you what I like, I've told you what I'm looking for. You've walked me through that. You've made sure that the base grain is to quality standards so that it's going to produce a good whiskey. Where do we go next? Because you guys are full service. After we've got what I want, where do we take it?
So it's once you go through cooking, grains are in, we're going to go through fermentation. You have your options on that as far as timing, temperatures, yeast, everything there is to go along with fermentation, nutrients, anything you'd like to put in or add to it. Distillation is after that. Then we're going to be able to proof any proof you want to run it through. So and then barreling. So wherever you want to barrel, whether it's with West Virginia Great Barrel, Kelvin Cooperage, Speyside, Canton, any of the different cooperages that you want to go with, we're able to source those barrels in. Chars, toast, anything like that for what you'd like to do with the barrel. Then next option is going to be, do you want storage?
Right.
So do you want to stay at our property and store in Kentucky, or do you want to take these barrels to your facility?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, what you can't just take them to your garage. We have to have a correct transfer and bond for where you're going to take those.
It's not just going in the back of the U-Haul.
Not going in the back of the U-Haul and just disappearing. But yes, the customers range all different. You know, some I tanker out distillate that they're going to barrel at their facility.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
coated distillate that we'll put in totes and we will ship out that they might barrel at their facility or use for something else. And then ones that store with us. So we start storage agreement. So it's going to be storage agreement, and you have option take your own insurance, our insurance, because you want those barrels insured.
Insurance is key.
Insurance is
in
key.
any scenario whiskey is involved.
And but yeah, and then they're going to sit there and age, and then from there is going to be head on over to the processing and bottling facility once it ages out, which talk about a state-of-the-art facility right there.
Oh my God.
Which we saw hand in hand ourselves when we first started bottling. You know, when we first started our collaborations, and you know, the square bottle, the very first Copper and Kings, the Goodwoods, the different things like that that were our early on, the Pfeiffer Pavets, the ones like that we did.
It's crazy the list of people you guys have worked with.
It is.
I mean, it's nuts.
And that's what makes us dangerous, and we learn from them as well, and the collaborating and networking, and and it's a partnership. It's not just that we want to steal your barrels and make a juice. We
Right.
hope that you want to do something with some of our stuff to release a product in yours. And it's Goose Island is a good example of that. That we did the finish in their stout barrels, and then they turned around and did a finish in our barrels, and we
Yeah,
advertise
yeah,
each other. It's
that's
not
right.
just that we're always showing our name on this. They're on the front, they're on the back, and when they released their stout beer, we were right there on the front of the box and on the bottle, which was really neat as well.
Mutually beneficial. Like, look at the Ferrand 2 that you've got in market right now.
Yes.
Bardstown Bourbon Company, Ferrand. Like,
Yes.
everybody wins. Like it's not and that transparency leads to the everybody winning.
Yes.
It's not I've done this and I'm putting a story about back in 17 back in
Back when
the
my
1400.
grandpappy-
Yeah. I remember back when my family came from Prague. We brought with us. It's that transparency, though. It educates the consumer. The consumer now knows more about the product than they did, thanks to companies like Bardstown Bourbon Company, and that education has allowed for the innovation to be picked up by them. Your time here, you've seen everything that was frowned upon become highlighted. Secondary finishes, you guys have been at the forefront of that.
Yes.
Now everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
Toasted barrel, everybody does it now. And back in the day, you had your OGs being like, whiskey is this or whiskey is that, and then they saw how much the consumer wanted it, and now everybody's
doing it. Yes, and like I said, it's been an amazing journey. But our bottling facility would be the last stop, and then we're gonna pretty it up and ship it out for you, so you can process it. You can double barrel. We do everything like that in our processing side. But we saw early on when we were bottling our own product at third-party bottlers that there is a need for this in the market that is more of a state-of-the-art, quality-controlled, food safety certified operation that the customer feels good that their product is being bottled. We had to have our full team go to these third-party things whenever we were bottling because the labels were crooked, the fill heights were off.
those little
people
but notice.
You would have people in pajama pants working the lines, and it's just not what you were looking for, And so with the bottling coming on, it's a full stop shop is what I like to say with our facility, that you can distill, store, bottle, ship, everything, that we can run your full brand from the start to finish, and compliance in there as well to make sure doing it all the legal right ways.
But that's such a huge part, because there's so much that the people that are coming to you don't know.
Yes.
That if you guys were just to like, here, have at it, go on your way, they wouldn't have the final tool they need to make it work. And if they don't work, you guys don't look good.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that mutually beneficial relationship, whereby you educating everybody along the way, they get better at what they're doing, which makes the liquid better long term, which makes everybody win.
True. And then with some customers know just as much of us. We produce for the big guys as well, not just
but that's also
the people that have a lot of money and want to start a brand, your craft,
from them.
your new ones and your big ones. Maybe they just want a little bit more, or maybe they're working on something special and can't run a crazy different grain type through their system or something like that, that we're able to do things for them as well, and on the bottling side help them out on some different projects and things. So we learn from them as well through the full process. But it's like you said, that's what makes everyday fun, is working with all these other different individuals and networking and learning from each other,
creating the thing. And that's got to be like the biggest compliment in the world, when one of the big boys comes to you and they know that you guys are going to make it consistent with what they like if somebody picks it up, they're not going to know that this was made somewhere else.
Yes.
Like, it is a seamless transition across liquids.
Yes, it does feel
Freaking
good.
cool, man.
We've earned and gained a lot of respect along the 9 years that we've been around now, which is crazy. 9 years. It seems like yesterday when we first started, and it's already been 9 years. It's kind of hard saying we're the new kids on the block anymore, because we're about to hit that 10-year-old mark next year or so.
Well, if you look at like the way you guys have been releasing, like you had Discovery, you had your Fusion, right? That was Fusion.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird, like the
I love
memory.
Fusion series. So
I still have I think a stockpile of those first 2, 3, 4s.
Yes.
And Steve was telling me
And
where he
it-
found a 1 like in market.
One.
It was either a 1 or a 2 in market, and it was like, you know, hidden back.
Bet he bought it.
Yeah. And then he asked them if they had any
Probably
more.
bought it, yes.
But you guys did the coolest thing, because after your initial releases and after you were getting everybody like a ready for what you guys could offer, you put out the Origin series, which I thought was such a well-rounded move, because you gave them every price point for your everyday consumer. You've got your you've got your Ferrand too, and you can have that as your cognac finished, wonderful. Okay, I'm in the mood for that little bit of extra sugar that the cognac brings. But I also have my Origin series everyday sipper,
Yes.
and I can have both of those and not like break the bank.
Yes, and you will see different price points on those, and that's where it goes from all being done in house.
That's right.
Versus having to source that odor aged juice in, which, you know, as we get older, we hope to have. You know, we're keeping some inventory back to where we will have some of those odor barrels and those age statements that then Dan Calloway is going to get to play with more of our odor juice, and we're not hitting the bulk market as much to try to get some 12-year, 14, 16, where that takes that cost per bottle up for the consumer. So when you go to our Origin series, which that's where we kind of separate a little bit, is I lay down the base bourbon,
Right.
Dan Calloway finishes it and makes it taste even better as the master blender. So whenever
Dimes.
so started with the collaborative series, that now we're pretty much you hit spot on with the fusion, and I was so happy I got to drink some fusion last night.
Oh yeah. Oh, Andy, man.
Andy had some
Bin
fusion.
110,
Yes,
baby.
Bin
They've
110. He has
oh,
some
man.
of, he had, I think, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 across the bar. So I went in at one of those last night because it had been a while since I got to try one. But the fusion was giving a taste of what's to come. Our old mash, our young mash bills fused with the source saturate.
Oh.
And then once ours turned ready, we said day one that we were not wanting to release a product at 4 years old.
Right.
That there was no point because of that Peter Lofton brilliant business plan. We were making money coming in for the customer buying by the barrel, so we were in no rush. So a lot of we wanted to wait till it was damn good and ready to release this product. So we said we're going to go at least 6 years before we have any standalone release.
Which was another thing nobody was doing.
Nobody was doing, but we were doing some finishes and getting our brand out there with the fusion and the collaborative series and the disco series.
Building that street cred.
That was building the name a little bit for when this is going to come out, the standalone by itself. And we call that the Origin Series Core 4. And they're wonderful. But that's where I go to work every day, is those base bourbons that I'm laying down. So the very first recipe we ever ran at Bardstown, the very first cook, was that Black Label bottled in bond.
Really?
So the 68 2012 wheated bourbon, of course, Steve Nally coming in, you know, day one, master distiller.
Yep.
Spent a lot of time at Maker's Mark in his time. So he knows wheat, you know, knows the wheat.
That's
period.
right.
So
That's
the very first recipe we ran was that 20% wheat, the very first cook. And then from there, we had our Kentucky Straight, the 36% rye, and then we had our rye whiskey, the 95.5. That beautiful touch that Dan Calloway gave it on the cherry hybrid barrel finish there, which I love. I'm not a big rye whiskey guy, but that cherry really hits home for me because I've got the bit of the sweet tooth.
It pulls out those soda notes.
Yes.
Like it pulls out that spice with this with that cola spice flowing all the way through it. And then you do get like that hint of cherry cola.
Yes.
I think the Bourbon Straight is my favorite. That is my day sipper right now. And what I loved about it was you guys have been so good at communicating the why to the consumer. Like me and Danny were talking, and he was like, we don't mark it up to the nines. Like we take what we have in it and we transfer that to the consumer. So it doesn't cost as much to make Origin Series, AKA it doesn't cost as much to buy Origin Series. And you guys didn't have to do that. Like you guys had the consumer trained at a certain price point that you could have continued on at, but that wasn't the model.
Yeah, and you want both ends of the spectrum.
That's right.
You know, not everybody's going to go out and want to buy over $100 bottle of bourbon. I know I don't want to.
Well,
of course, I've got a lifetime supply pretty much. So, but You know, it's you got to be in that lower price point as well for the everyday drinker. You know, the finishes and everything are great, but we hope to drop that price point as well once we have odor juice
That's right.
or you see that the market is changing right now
Yep. Yes, yes, yes.
as far as new fill prices, maturate barrel prices, and things like that, that you could see price points in the future drop. And then my favorite of the Origin, the new one on the block that I guess you could say new, but it's been out for almost a couple of years
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But the high wheat, that's
High
kind of
wheat.
my baby. So that's the one that I put together without anybody knowing at the very get go. So
I was like your little secret project.
little secret project. So Steve likes to go to Wyoming. He was with Wyoming Whiskey, you know,
Yep.
for a little while there.
Yep.
So he still kept his place out there, and he likes to go out there for about a month at a time, a few times a year, and he hopes it snows 3 foot, and he can just sit there and drink bourbon and do absolutely nothing and enjoy the scenery.
That's
But
all any of us want. Let's be honest.
yes, it is. When he was gone, we were on a wheat run, and I was actually wanting to come in on a Saturday, knew that we were finishing the wheat out and was going to have some left over. I wanted to make a wheat whiskey because we did not have a wheat whiskey yet. All these different things, I'd done 50 different recipes to this point, but no wheat whiskeys for ourselves or a customer. And I was like, I really want to make a wheat whiskey to add to the portfolio. So told them grind all the leftover wheat. Once they finished that, if we stuck with our normal batch size, I didn't have enough for a wheat whiskey. We only had 39%. So I redid the corn, the malt. We ran this 39% wheat, and it was absolutely wonderful distillate.
Beautiful.
So whenever Steve got back, I actually gave him a blind triangle test on his wheated distillate and that 39% wheat, and he chose the 39 over the 20%. And I said, how about we continue this on? So then it got to we run it all the time with all of our Origin series now in the distillery, and it went to proofing after that. I wanted to do something a little bit different, so we're actually putting that in the barrel at 108 proof at the very start versus most are going in at 125, 120, the highest proof they can, and then they're going to cut down after maturation to look for that certain flavor or keep it at the cast. I was looking at the quality of the product wanting to go in at the start, not worried about cutting down for how many bottles we're going to get at the very end of it. So, and the lower proof to help pull some of those sugars out of that wood earlier on and change how maturation is going to go. So, kind of blinded myself on proofing the distillate, and I liked 108 the most on it. And so now that product goes in at 108 in the barrel for every single run that we do.
But another example of like how you have rolling stones your way into all of these other techniques that you've learned from the people that you're working with.
Yes, and
I mean, putting it in so you don't have to water it down is such a smart frickin' flavor choice.
yes, and I see others start to do that now.
Yes,
Some
right,
that are
that's
starting
right.
to go in at 110 in the barrel, some
know
that are
exactly
starting
who
to
we're
go 103. And you know, I had never really you know, I'm fortunate enough that I know what a lot of people make and what is popular right now. What is, you know, I'm starting to see that the last couple of years, rye whiskey is not hitting my production schedule like it was in the beginning. Wheated bourbon is coming in a little bit more that, you know, doing all these different recipes for people, you kind of see what is popular now. But the thing is, we don't have this nice crystal ball to know what is going to be popular 4, 6, 8 years from now. So I'm starting to see a little trend on wheated bourbon starting to hit my production schedule more, not as much rye whiskey. But yeah, it's
That's super interesting.
It's and I'm a wheated bourbon guy. Steve's converted me, I think. I've spent too much time with him that he's turning me into a wheated guy.
He is one of those people that like I think it almost annoys him like how much when he's talking. I don't think I know it doesn't annoy him. I just like you know how you're having a real genuine conversation with somebody and then all of a sudden you find yourself in student land where you've gone from talking to let's talk about football or whatever people talk about and all of a sudden he's talking about whiskey and now you're just sort of like tell me more, tell me more.
Just take it all in. So
He's such a good guy.
oh, he is. I don't think he has a mean bone in his body. He is
no,
the
he's
most
such a nice person.
easygoing, friendly person you can imagine. it's been great to work with all these years.
Well, I mean, of
So,
all the people to soak up information from,
yes.
he is one of the best.
Oh, and he's the best salesman out there. He is the #1 salesperson because he can talk to anybody
He
and
knows all the things.
and you become a friend.
Yeah,
When you are done
that's the
talking to
thing.
Steve, you feel like you are a new best friends kind of.
Well, it's
So,
because he's a genuine dude. He's a genuine guy. I don't know if anybody's ever called him a dude. He's a genuine person. So you're seeing the rye slow down. You're seeing the wheat pick up. From your vantage point, where do you see whiskey going in the next few years?
hopefully taking back off a little bit more. Because as you know, if you read the articles or anything, the production side of
2025 has been
things
an interesting year.
are slower. So we've had to diversify in that. Look at other spirit types.
Yeah.
So I'm actually making a light rum distillate right now. Can't disclose who for, but what's
that's
popular
awesome.
right now?
Yeah.
What's going up?
Yeah.
RTDs.
RTDs,
They're ready to drink. So no, I'm not putting this in a can and adding flavors to it, but we're tankering that out to where they are making their product with that. We're just laying down some base alcohol, but we're looking at RTDs as well. We've had our Green River old fashions or things like that
Yep.
we're coming out with.
Green River's right where my brain went.
Looking at honey and some different things like that. So we're looking into doing that to diversify. Might be a little late to the game on that, but the RTDs are taking off because the consumer, I think they're just getting lazier. They don't want to blend and make these things. They want to buy it and pop the top right now. But the market side on the pricing is where I think things are getting ready to hopefully take back off for new fill being laid down, because right now you are seeing the cheapest price per barrel that since I've been in the industry that I've ever seen as far as new fill being laid down. So, and if there's a slowdown in people laying down new fill, that means 4-6 years from now, there's not going to be anything on the bulk matrix side of the market if people are not laying down excess new fill for supply later on. So
the other side of overdoing it in the boom is that now 6 years from this point, you're going to have that backwards.
yes, but you've seen the market prices completely flop, and that is what's kind of changed in the industry right now. And I see it as kind of like playing the stock market.
I was going to say,
someone is getting ready to who is going to take that leap to, I want to play this stock market right now, and I'm going to put a surplus in new fill because it's at the lowest price right now, and then hope 2-4 years from now, whenever I have that mattress, that I will have kind of a chokehold on the mattress side of the market, because no one's been laying down excess new fill as much right now. So
and it'll happen.
Prices will change. It will happen.
We're seeing, because that's the chess game. That's the way you got to be looking at it. And there's some rich guy somewhere that's going to have the pocket.
Come on down, rich man.
But you know what I mean? Somebody will hear, like, if they're not thinking about it that way, somebody will hear a conversation like this and then be like, I imagine all rich people talk like this right here. I need to get to Bardstown.
Yes, come to Bardstown. Bring your checkbook.
Yeah. It's interesting about the RTDs. I think the RTD is proof that the younger generation is coming into their own. I don't think it's my age group, because we are now nerds enough to where I know how I like my Manhattan.
Yes,
I know how I like the Chief and Super Troopers. I like what I like a certain way. But the younger generation, they are still more on the go. They maybe don't have that knowledge base to have all the things in their little apartment in New York, but they can reach for the RTD and get a hint of what's easiest.
Yes.
So
Convenience.
It's still a good thing for the industry, because A, it's making money, which is good during this time. And also, they will grow into the consumer you want them to be.
Yes.
They like this. Eventually, that sugar will catch up with them, and they'll be like, "Oh, I love it right now." But it's like anything. What was your favorite thing 5 years ago? Probably not your favorite thing now. So as their palates grow, the beauty of places like Bardstown is they'll have options, and they'll have an education system in place where I started here, then I got this. They've walked me through what this means, and now I'm ready for more. and then there'll be more for
Yeah.
them.
And the good thing is they are drinking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the beauty of this business, that people are drinking. It's always kind of where the economy's at for what they're
right.
drinking.
That's
you
right.
know,
That's right.
are they buying the $30 bottle or the $130 bottle? You know where the economy's at. But
That's the real slowdown, right? Because you got more people buying that 50 down than you have buying the 50 up.
yes, and that's where, you know, we haven't even got into it through this entire conversation, but under Lofted Spirits umbrella, you know, it's not just Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Right.
We have Green River Distillery as well, which is, you know, even a lower price point than the Bardstown Origin Series. An amazing, amazing product that
We've not talked
Aaron
about
and
it. You're
Q
right.
are
Good Lord.
incorporating down there. And yeah, I mean, so that just won Bourbon of the Year. They're weeded.
That's what I was
So
getting
I
ready to say.
mean,
That's
you know,
exactly what I was getting ready to say.
it does not take $100+ bottle to win Bourbon of the Year. That's a $35 price point right there, and a amazing, amazing product.
Well, and we were talking about the cocktails, like Make Mine in '85. I never get the year right.
1885.
1885. Yeah, that right there. Just the thought process of making sure there was a back bar whiskey for the bars and restaurants that could make a consistently awesome cocktail. I mean, through and through. And then you've also got Karen,
Oh
who
yeah.
is just one of the Steve's nice. Karen's also
Oh, yeah.
super nice.
And her passion and the history she knows about Green River. If you want to know the full Green River history story, Karen knows all of it, and she gives an excellent tasting. She's
Dedication,
awesome.
man. She carries the
awesome.
golden tickets around with her.
Yeah.
And if you want to have that awesome backroom experience at Green River, which the new location, again, relatively new in the sense of whiskey, in Louisville, is one of the coolest 1-2 punches.
Yeah.
Because Bardstown kept the motif that they had from Bardstown in Louisville. It's like you're seamlessly walking from one to the other. But then you go next door to Green River, the liquid, there's that consistency across palate, and Green River has that totally different vibe.
Yes.
It's a cool freaking experience.
Two complete, I mean, you could throw a rock from one to the other, how
Yeah,
close
yeah,
they are
yeah.
to each other right there. And the foot traffic that we see down there, that's what's so great for us. Cause you know, Bardstown's a small town. People come just for the Bourbon Trail
That's right.
and things like
That's
that.
right.
And that's going to be the main thing. But Louisville is seeing thousands of people walking in downtown each day. So the foot traffic has been key for us. But yeah, the modern, clean, sleek, innovative Bardstown, and then your historic tradition of Green River DSP number 10. You know,
insane,
two
man.
completely separate brands under one umbrella, and two teams that love working together. You know, we are all friends. We're not competitors. We help each other. Aaron, I was taking Aaron sitting right here right before we started the podcast. So we all get along and help each other, and it's some of us are both. Lofted Spirits, if you're Lofted email, you do both companies. If you're Green River, you're just there. If you're Bardstown, you're just there. So but yeah, they've been awesome to work with, and an awesome brand that's growing like crazy and doing really good stuff right now. And I'm tickled they won Bourbon of the Year on
That's awesome.
That was great.
And you mentioned Aaron. Aaron is one of my favorite people just to sit and talk with.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're just hanging out smoking a cigar, Aaron will make you laugh more in an hour than most people I know.
Yeah, and what I appreciate with Aaron, me and him kind of came up the same way. You know, we both started in a distillery kind of on the ground floor and worked our ways up through and moved on to different jobs. But yeah, so we've both kind of earned our way through it. You know, it's
That's
not
awesome.
Not to hit bad on anything, but it's not just you were born into it or part of the family type thing that we kind
Worked your way up.
We started at the bottom, and same as Steve Nally. He did all the jobs at Makers before. So, you know, I love seeing that with a distiller because they put in the hard work to grow and become what they are now versus just being kind of thrown into it or having a lot of money and owning the company and becoming the distiller or whatever it might be. That, you know, working your way up through it means a lot to me in the distilling world.
You got that well-rounded, like if you've not worked every job, then like back in the day, the master distiller was the master distiller because he had worked every job.
He had done all of them.
When something went wrong, he was able to tell you what, like, I love the stories from back then where like they could tell by the smell something was off.
Yes.
Or if like, oh, it's not too hot right now, but it will be too hot around 4 o'clock in the morning. So we need to get here at 3.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that you don't get if you are just kind of ordained.
And it's kind of scary because, like, yes, I would love to be a master distiller one day. I'm just a head distiller, but I told Steve,
Oh, I'm sorry, the director of
oh,
distilling.
it's a long
operations,
title, but
it's still pretty
but,
badass.
like Steve, I said, you're never going anywhere. I don't care if you're 75, 85. I was like, because a lot of times it becomes a change that you're not as involved in the operation anymore. I feel like you are
Especially
kind of
now.
more marketing,
Yep,
and
100%.
I'm sitting here doing this more than I am making bourbon, and
Which will come with that chair.
it comes with it. That is part of it, but I love making bourbon. So
Right.
that is what I love about Bardstown, and having, Dan Calloway as the master blender, that he's able to do some of these new products and things like that.
Does he sleep?
Never. We don't sleep. We're always growing and doing. Never stand still.
That's
so
right. That's
it's not always sleep at Bardstown. It's never stand still. Always pushing those boundaries. There's nowhere we won't go. So yes, he's always going somewhere. Same with Jazz, Karen, all the names you've mentioned. Always on the road. Always promoting the brand and trying to grow this. And the main thing is networking and meeting people. Me and you meeting for the first time today.
Which is sort of blows my mind.
It does,
a little bit.
because we've probably actually ran into each other or been in the same circle somewhere.
We've been at the same party, same function, same event at some point, and just didn't know each other. Which now we've got Danny Dimes. We gotta get Nick a nickname. By the next time there's already one out there.
I've got a really good Instagram name. I'm surprised marketing hasn't made me change it, but BBC_Whiskey Nick. So
Whiskey Nick.
Yeah. The comedian side on you's coming out on that one now.
I love it. I love it. Danny Dimes and Whiskey Nick. That's awesome, dude. Well, Nick, it's been so great spending some time with you. I know they've got you pretty booked up in Charlotte, so I hope you take some time, enjoy tonight. There will be a lot of good people there. You're doing it for a great cause, but just take a minute and just have fun.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be a
really
weekend.
fun night. And then I get to take it to the football game tomorrow.
That's even better, man.
So no ties to either one of them. Wake Forest and I guess it's a rival game, North Carolina.
Yeah,
UNC.
that's right.
So CEO Mark Irwin, we haven't mentioned him this whole time.
Oh,
Wake Forest alum.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do, a tasting for him. So I've got to stop by. I think he's in the Wake Forest Hall of Fame there. So I've got.
Is he really?
I've got to find that Hall of Fame section right there,
picture,
and get a picture and check out.
Well, the beauty is
accomplishments.
There's no way you guys don't win tomorrow. Like Chapel Hill's not been having a great year.
And I will tell you what, not a big Belichick fan.
No, neither am I.
Because I was a Colts fan. I'm a Peyton Manning guy all growing up.
Nice.
And when he was with the Patriots, he beat us so many times that it just crushed my heart. That's the main reason that. But yeah, maybe I can get him to invest in some bourbon. So that's why I'm there.
There we go. I could see a Wake Forest branded whiskey selling quite well in the Carolinas. Just saying. All right, buddy. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure getting to know you.
It has been a pleasure. So it's been fun. And like I said, if you ever need anything, reach out. Love to do another podcast again anytime.
Anytime, man. The beauty of this is there's always going to be whiskey to drink.
There is always whiskey to drink. So making more of it every day.
That's right. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you all.